Jim Clifton pleaded guilty to the same conspiracy charge as Walt Bressler yesterday.
In federal court, the U.S. attorney referenced a recorded executive session with BVU board members.
And prosecutors say it shows the board knew about federal wrongdoing, but chose to cover it up.
Allie Hines got a copy of that tape, and she reveals what happened in the closed meeting no one knew was being recorded.
In this tape from September 2013, you'll hear Clifton, Bressler, and other board members talking about what to do now that they know former CEO Wes Rosenbaum is breaking the law. Rosenbaum has since been convicted in the BVU corruption investigation and is serving time in prison. According to the minutes from that meeting, the other board members in that executive session were Faith Esposito, Jim Rector, Doug Fleener, Bristol, Virginia's current mayor Archie Hubbard, Ed Harlow, Odell Owens, and Paul Hurley, who has now also been convicted in this investigation.
Walt, you want to fill us in on what you have received?
Walt Bressler starts off this meeting explaining the Virginia Procurement Act, something public utilities have to follow.
You may not receive a gift of anything other than nominal value, lunch or something.
Bressler then says Wes Rosenbaum got sporting tickets from a contractor, but board members say he wasn't the only one in violation.
We could be opening a tremendous can of worms here if we're talking about tickets to different things or stuff over a nominal amount of money being given away by somebody.
We all violated that when we went to Dallas. Yeah, we all go to jail.
Board members also talked about how much to let auditors look into.
I really don't want to dig too deep because if we find something that is criminal, then we got no choice. And I don't want to do that to him or his family.
In this private meeting, there was also discussion about how to part ways with Rosenbaum and keep him out of legal trouble.
If we cut off the head of the snake, so to speak, that's probably a terrible analogy, but does that kind of bring everything back in line? Or do we want to wrap up Stacy in this? Do we want to wrap up all the other people that could, I mean, we could be talking about getting rid of the top 10 management people of this organization.
As far as the option of going to authorities,
what worries me about our liability is you give this to Randy Ramsayer at the U.S. Attorney's Office. He's going all over. So we have to be very careful what we say coming out of this board, because if you give it to U.S. Attorneys, political corruption, that's their
Well, that's what I'm saying.
board members also asked Bressler what they legally needed to do.
So we don't have to report a knowledge of a criminal offense.
It is my opinion that you can do an accord and satisfaction. In other words, if he were to resign and everything else, you can do that, and that's a satisfactory way of disposing of it.
The current Bristol, Virginia mayor Archie Hubbard was in that meeting and on that same Dallas trip that got Walt Bressler and Jim Clifton in trouble. I reached out to him today. He says he doesn't want to comment at this time. I also read him some of the quotes from that meeting. He says he doesn't remember what he said.
Allie Hines, thanks. Now, out of the people in that meeting, Walt Bressler, Jim Clifton, and Paul Hurley have been charged in the ongoing BVU corruption investigation.